Hey Streets, let me tell you about this cool app that we've been using to help us along our podcast journey. So it's called Anchor and it's just really cool. It's free. There's creation tools that allow you to record and edit your podcast right from your phone or computer. And also, Anchor will distribute your podcast for you, so you don't have to worry about that part. You'll be heard on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and many more platforms, and Anchor will do it all for you. Also, you can make money from your podcast, and everything you need to make a podcast is all in one place. It's awesome. So download the free Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started. We'll see you there. Welcome to Chapter 30. I'm Miss K.
And I'm Queen T.
This is a place for those women
and men
who feel that they have no one to talk to.
We're here. Thank you for listening, and we hope you enjoy the show. Hey guys, welcome back.
Hey guys, welcome back. It's Miss K
and Queen T.
And we're back with another podcast.
Yes, I can't believe it.
I know, here we are. So T, I have a question for you.
Oh, here we go. Listening.
So now that we have officially launched, how do you feel?
Oh my gosh. Well, okay, let's say this. I feel a lot less nervous than I thought I would feel.
Mm-hmm.
I just feel like, oh my gosh, our baby's out there, our baby's out in the world, just left the nest, living her own best life.
Mm-hmm.
And it's so crazy because there's just been like an outpouring of support. And I'm so grateful, and I just want to thank everybody for that. But it's crazy because I was surprised at how much of that support was from people that we barely know at all, from strangers.
Right.
Like commenting, posting, and listening and giving us feedback. And so I'm just truly, truly grateful for that in itself.
Right. Same here. I want to thank everybody for just all the shares, for rating it, liking it, for messaging us, and like truly, truly appreciate that from the bottom of our heart. Like, thank you so much.
And just so you guys know, the app that we use to record, it kind of does an analysis for us and shows us, where people are listening, what app they're using to listen to us, the amount of people that are listening. And one of the things that we came across was that we have people listening in like Nigeria,
right,
Mexico,
right. That was crazy.
We were like, wow, that kind of spread pretty quickly. So we're super excited about that.
Right. So shout out to you guys who are international. Thank you so much.
Yes. And last thing I want to say, Miss K and I, we gave ourselves kind of a goal for our first day of when we dropped the 3 episodes, and we gave ourselves a goal of how many listeners that we wanted to have, and we quadrupled our goal. So again, thank you so much. It just exceeded our expectations tremendously, so thank you. So Kay, how do you feel now that our baby's out there in the world?
I feel super excited. Like, I'm super appreciative of all the feedback and of everyone who's listening. Like, just so grateful. I was a little nervous, like maybe 2% nervous, but more than that, I was just ready. But I think today's topic is going to really nail how I feel, like just with my thoughts. But you guys will see more of that as we start talking about today's topic.
Yes, and that is actually a great segue into what we wanted to bring up next. So as you guys can tell from the title, we're talking about savage and sensitive culture. And to be honest, guys, we actually had to re-record this episode because we were kind of nervous coming into it.
Right.
We just wanted to we felt kind of like we had to censor some of the stuff that we were saying and felt a little bit nervous coming into it.
Right. If you've ever done a podcast yourself, or if you've ever did any kind of public speaking or just any kind of communication with the public, you'll know how that feels. Like when you're, or even if you're an artist of some sort, when you feel like you're censoring yourself, that's when you should kind of take a step back and kind of reevaluate the situation, because censorship has its purpose, but with expression, it can be very confining.
I know with me, it completely blocked my creativity.
Right.
Like my brain was not working. We were trying to brainstorm. We were trying to come up with ideas and notate stuff, and I just could not think. Like I couldn't get it out.
Because everything that we brought up, it had like but like we didn't want to offend somebody. Because first of all, like what I want to mention, something that we've already mentioned, is this is a safe, positive place. So this is not a place to hurt anyone's feelings. This is not a place to, bring up anything negative or, anything like that. But in the same breath, everyone's not going to agree with what we say. And you can take something negative from something positive if you want to find it. Whatever you want to find, you can find. So if your mind is there and that's what you're determined to find, you're going to find it. But our intentions are never meant to hurt anyone. And our intentions are always like just to be uplifting and positive. So I just wanted to say that first and foremost.
100% agree. And I actually am kind of grateful that we kind of took that step back.
Right.
Because it actually brought a different aspect to the podcast, one that we were kind of missing. And sometimes it takes days or weeks or whatever, to get that light bulb.
Right.
Or, to get that aha moment. Mm-hmm. And for us, it took like an hour or two.
Right.
And we were able to come up with way more content than we even imagined. So sometimes it's good to get that step away. Right. And we came back with some fire. So we hope you guys enjoy it.
Right. And I think that's something, like I mentioned before to you when we were having a meeting, it's something for us to always be mindful of, that we may start recording a podcast with, one intention and, one idea, but we may end up somewhere totally different, or we may have to revisit it. Give it some time. It may take a week. It may take a month. We may have to scratch it off completely, but nothing is set in stone, and that's beautiful. It's a beautiful thing. Like,
it's all a part of the process.
Right. It's all a part of
that. Yeah. All right. So today we're talking about savage culture, sensitive culture. What does that mean? Like,
and what does it mean to us? Because you guys probably read it and had your own interpretation, and the dictionary has its own, but we talk about this a lot amongst each other. So we're going to kind of like give you our view on those terms and their place in the culture.
Exactly. So let's start off with savage culture, because I feel like sensitive culture kind of stemmed from that. Mm-hmm. So my interpretation of savage culture is basically culture in general. It includes social media, reality TV, books, music, all of these things that kind of influenced us to act a certain way. Mm-hmm. And some of those things include being petty, being shady, phrases like trust no one. There's some song lyrics, FBs, get money. And these are things that are not necessarily good or helpful or beneficial. And they're actually bad qualities and can be considered toxic tendencies. Mm-hmm. that we've kind of adapted to and have kind of made the norm.
You nailed it.
What do you?
I actually agree with what you said about savage culture and how you defined it. That's very true. I looked up the word savage in the dictionary and I saw some synonyms, and I want to just mention those, and you guys can just take them how you want to take them. Cruel, brutal, uncivilized, animalistic, wild. So that's what a savage is.
And when I hear those words, that's not really what I want to be. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Like, that's not who I want to be perceived as. That doesn't sound relatable to me. And you know what's crazy? I looked up kind of like the urban definition, mm-hmm. and it said brutal but awesome / cool.
What?
Yes.
That nails savage culture, because that's what, when you participate in that culture, like that's kind of like the vibe that you think you're, giving. I'm brutal, but I'm cool. Like, no.
And it's kind of like an oxymoron. Right. You know what I mean? Right. Like, it shouldn't be cool to be brutal. That's supposed to be a bad thing.
Right.
And it's just interesting to me because I feel like there are certain people who are naturally this way. I feel like there are certain people who are naturally petty, shady, and I'm not saying that's a good thing. We all have things that we have to work on. We all have traits that are not necessarily good. But when you are changing yourself, your personality, the things that you say, the things that you do to kind of fit into that, I think that's kind of a problem.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, because it's different if, okay, it's an atmosphere that's super positive and you're a negative person and you want to change to become more positive. You know what I mean? That's beneficial to everybody around you, the world, whatever. But changing yourself to be negative or petty or shady or whatever, that's just detrimental to everything around you. It's the exact opposite of what we should want or strive for as human beings.
Right. But sadly, people do that to survive or to fit in. Because if you're around a bunch of savages, like, if you're yourself and you're this, emotional, or just even not even emotional, even if you just have, like, you regulate your emotions as you should, you feel what you should feel. But if you're around a bunch of savages, it's like, how do you survive in that atmosphere if you're not necessarily a savage? Like,
I get it. That's sad.
It is.
That's sad that people feel that way, that they feel that they have to, because if nobody felt that way, they wouldn't do it.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? So it's sad that people feel like, and you know what, I'm going to put myself into the situation, because I feel like there was a point in time in my life where I felt like I had to be that as well. Mm-hmm. And I would say it was probably after a bad breakup. And I just felt like, okay, you know what? I was way too nice. I was way too forgiving, way too open. And I felt like I got taken advantage of. Mm-hmm. So in order for that to not happen again, I have to be closed off. Right. I have to be unattainable. Mm-hmm. I have to be a savage.
Right.
And because if I don't, then this is going to happen to me again. And I feel like it's kind of like a domino effect.
It really is.
So it happens to one person, and then they do that to somebody else, and then they react the same way, and it's just on and on and on until we have a savage culture.
Exactly. And that's what we evolved to, savage culture. So T, now that we discussed savage culture a bit, where do you think sensitive culture fits in? Or how do you think it fits in?
That's a really good question. Because we've had this conversation, and I kind of myself it was hard for me to kind of figure out where it fit in, because it does find a place in it. I feel like it's kind of like savage culture is the umbrella, and mm-hmm. sensitive culture is like a subcategory underneath that. Mm. But then also, after we ended up discussing it further, it kind of blended in a lot of times, and it was like really like blurred lines.
Yes.
So I kind of feel like there is a sensitive category where there's so many people there's so many groups of people mm-hmm. that we kind of have to be careful of, because if we say the wrong thing or if we do the wrong thing, we're going to get attacked. But that attacking portion is a part of savage culture. Mm. So that the sensitive part, I believe, just really has to do with just having to stay away from stepping on toes, and being very, very careful about the things that we say and the things that we do in order to not piss off large groups of people.
Right. That's so true. It's crazy how they blur. Like, it's like they're opposites, but they don't realize how similar they are. Like,
exactly. Crazy. All right. So let's give the people an example of both.
Yes, let's do that. I feel like that'll really make it clear.
Right. So what's an example of savage culture?
Okay. So an example of savage culture would be, I would say, social media. Mm-hmm. Like, people on social media, they participate in savage culture. Like, if I was to post a picture of okay, let's say not me. Let's say a celebrity was to post a picture of their child or their new house or something. I feel like savage culture is like the trolls that are underneath the picture. Oh, your baby's ugly. Oh, your house is like I feel like that's savage culture. Just mean, cruel, like just nasty. What's an example of sensitive culture?
How would you feel about me dropping a name?
Name. And name. See, like this is where I get nervous about savage culture coming against us in our podcast. Like
Right.
crazy. Go ahead and drop a name, girl. Go ahead.
I feel like this is just the best way for me to describe it because people are gonna know what I'm talking about. So just recently I saw on one of my social media accounts that there was, maybe I can just say it without dropping the name, but people are gonna know. So there was there was a comedian that had said something that a lot of people thought were disrespectful about a celebrity that had passed away. And obviously this celebrity was an icon to a lot of people. You know what I mean? So this is where the sensitive culture kind of comes in because you have to be very, very careful about what you say. And what he said, a lot of people took to be extremely disrespectful, myself included. It was just a regular sentence that you just don't say on a daily basis. You know what I mean? Like we all know that you just don't go around saying stuff like this. And he got dragged. Like he got dragged to Phil. So I feel like it kind of starts off with being sensitive and then it kind of drifts into being savage. You know what I mean? Like the action part is the savage. So like the sensitive part is how we feel about it, but then the action behind it, everybody grouping together and attacking a person, that's like the savage part of it.
That's a perfect way to explain it because like we discussed before, a lot of the people who are in sensitive culture, they don't identify as a savage. Like they feel like they're standing up for what they believe in, they're fighting for a good cause, but like you said, it's the actions. Like it's how they come across.
Exactly. And for this situation in particular, I thought it was pretty interesting because it showed me how times have changed. Because this is a comedian. I don't know like about now, but when we were growing up, comedians were the ones that kind of had a pass. Like they were the ones who would be able to say what everybody else couldn't say or what everybody else wanted to say and just, didn't have the balls to say. Um, and now it's like nobody is exempt from this. And it almost makes me wonder, one, for example, let's use Richard Pryor. If he was alive today, would he even have a career? Like, you know what I mean? Because a lot of the stuff that he said was just straight, just off the wall. But we loved it. You know what I mean? We knew that it was comedy. We knew that this is what we came for. We came for the harsh, brutal, honest truth. But it's different nowadays. So it makes me wonder, is there freedom of speech?
Yes, that's so true. Like back in the day, Comic View, like they had no censor. Like they said whatever. Do you think it depends on the setting? Like, do you think if you went to a comedy show, like you could accept what, the comedian said, but do you think on social media it's a little different? Like, do you think setting has anything to do with savage culture and like how we accept it or participate in it?
Absolutely. I feel like if it was a concert, I mean, they don't do concerts, but stand up, if it was like a stand up show that people came to see him and they knew what they were expecting out of him because they are fans of him, it would definitely be different. Like that's what they came for.
Right.
And social media is different because somebody can argue that, well, what are they doing on his page? It's his page. He can say whatever he wants. But there's, people tag stuff, other people see things. So people that are even not friends with him or not following him can see the stuff that he's posting. You know what I mean? There's
Right.
screenshots. Um, so I definitely think it's different. And also he comes from a different time period. So he's not used to having to, and I don't want to stick up for him and say that he's right. I'm just pointing out the fact that how times have changed. I could probably see how he's not used to having to censor himself. You know what I mean? Like, he is probably used to seeing the world for how he sees it and just going straight from brain to mouth.
Right.
And it's just a totally different world now. Whereas I don't even know, I'm living this world. I see the difference where I don't even know what I'm going to say, if it's going to be, deemed as disrespectful or not.
Exactly. Like with this podcast, that was one of my biggest worries. Like just how many disclaimers can we yell out? Like, how, like, in order for us to do this successful, we have to really be like open, vulnerable, and just like ready to discuss like the tough topics. Like, if we're gonna really hold back, it's kind of like no point for us to do this.
Exactly. And then the one thing that bothers me, kind of, which I said, I don't know if I said this before, but I'm going to be jumping all around on this, like jumping the fence all over this topic, perspective, hashtag,
Yes.
is that once somebody does something that we don't like, whether it be disrespectful or something on social media that we just all are against, we decide to make this person publicly apologize to us.
Mm.
And on one side, I don't understand it, because what is that supposed to do? Like, what do we get out of that? We know that this person said what they said. And them publicly apologizing is not going to mean that they don't mean it anymore. You know what I mean? Like, that they
Right.
just learned their lesson the day after, and now they're just they're a better person because of it. Um, but on the other end, I do get it, because I feel like there are a lot of people in this world who feel like they cannot be touched,
Mm.
and just walking around just insensitive, saying whatever they want to say, and just having no regard for anybody else. And I feel like that does kind of humble them and
Right.
take them down a notch a little bit.
Right. And it holds them accountable because we should at least respect each other. So I definitely like, I understand why you see things on both, like, points of view, because we should hold them accountable. Like, at the very least, like, we as humans should respect one another. So if there's a group of people that you don't like, and maybe you said like a horrible tweet, or you said something really disrespectful, and you're a public figure, all of a sudden sensitive culture is making you apologize. Like, I can see why you're saying like they don't mean it, they were forced to say it. So it's like, is there freedom of speech? But it's just like these lines are so blurred, because I feel like a public figure, a president, an actor, a singer, I don't I see why when they say something that's like inappropriate or just so insensitive, like why, people want that apology, because you've hurt people. But at the same time, like, do you even mean that apology? Like, are you just saying it to, keep your position or reputation, Like,
Right.
it's weird.
I kind of think of it this way. Let's say, for example, one of my coworkers told me that I'm ugly. And I go up to them and I'm like, you need to apologize.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, this is
Tell me your
unacceptable. I'm not taking this. You're a horrible person. You need to apologize. That does not change the fact that that person thinks I'm ugly. Like, you know what I mean?
Right. So, do you think that when people force someone to apologize, it's more so because of like the people that are watching? So let's say your coworker said that in front of your whole job, all the other employees, and let's say your boss said you need to apologize, and they had to apologize in front of everybody. Do you think it's more so to set the tone? Do you think these apologies are forced upon people like to set the tone of the world, that we can't say these things, we have to be um considerate, like, or do you think they really think they can change somebody's mind? Like,
Absolutely. I think it's to set a tone, to make what do you call make an example out of somebody.
right.
If you did something publicly, then you get torn down publicly.
Mm,
Do I don't think I hope that people don't believe that somebody's just gonna change their mind
no.
overnight just based off of wanting an apology. But even though, like, I still feel at the end of the day, even though we petition all over the place for apologies, I feel like it almost also kind of constricts people. Like, yeah,
Mm,
you want to set an example, but what kind of example are you setting? So like now there's going to be thousands of people who just feel like they can't be themselves or they can't say what they want to say. And it depends. Like it's all blurred lines. Like some
yeah,
things like, and it's all kind of like subjective because everybody has their different opinions on morals or what's good and what's bad.
right.
So I think that's also a problem too because you just never know. Like you never know who you're gonna offend. Um, and it, like I was saying before, it kind of constricts people from feeling like, um, from being who they are, wanting to say what they want to say. Social media is
Ah,
is it could be a jungle.
right. It's such a beautiful like concept, but it comes with a lot. Like literally, like the whole world is just like on that platform. So we're interacting with so much people. Like we always talk about overconsumption.
Yes, yes. Do you feel that all celebrities are responsible for, okay, let's use an example. There's a certain celebrity who says that they're not a role model
I
to,
was thinking of that.
to whoever's following them. They're just doing what they do. So do you feel like it comes with a responsibility that they should be responsible?
And that's a great question because one side of me, I think when you are in the public, you kind of have a certain responsibility, but I don't think it's your responsibility to like raise people's children. I feel like the media does have a certain responsibility, but to what degree that can be debated. But I feel like everything kind of starts at home. So, for example, instead of making this person do a public apology, sometimes you have to just teach your children. You see what he said? That is totally unacceptable. We don't say that because, or have like an open communication with your children and see like, what they're thinking and, school them or just have a conversation on why that wasn't appropriate because,
Mhm.
what's them seeing a fake apology? If someone said a racist statement, what's them seeing, I apologize about my statement. I feel like they can get more from home and having a real honest discussion. And I think the world can grow and change with things like that more so than like the fake apologies.
Mhm.
So of course I went all over, but I think that kind of answered your question. What do you think about that?
It definitely did answer my question. Of course, I'm on the fence about it on my side. um, I feel like on one end, who are we to say that this person can't be who they are? Who are we to say that this person can't say what they want to say, do what they want to do, as long as they're not hurting anybody else?
Mm,
And that can also be debated because you could be hurting people emotionally, whatever.
mm-hmm.
Um, but I don't know. I feel really strongly about holding people back from who they are as a person. You know what I mean?
Right.
Um, I just feel like do whatever you want to do, but be prepared for the consequences.
That part.
That's how I'm gonna play it that way.
It's a great way to think about it because it's like if these people are being rude behind closed doors, but they just can't show, their true colors. Like for me, I'd rather know you're a nasty person. I mean, I don't want it just like all over the place, but I don't know. Like I kind of when I see somebody's true colors and I see them like act like a savage or disrespectful, I'm kind of like, oh, okay, good to know that that's who you are. I'm not supporting you anymore. Like that's my choice.
Exactly. I would rather know upfront this is the person that you are, and I make that decision whether I want to continue accepting that into my life
Right.
rather than, having to figure out later on or having to kind of read between the lines. You're
Mm,
telling me straight up, this is what you are, this is who you are, and I'll make the decision going forward.
right.
One thing that I do, that I have noticed with this whole savage and sensitive culture is, for example, all of us petitioning to make sure that this person, whoever it may be, comes out and does a public apology. It reminds me, have you seen the movie Planet of the Apes?
Yes, I love that movie.
That is one of my favorites.
Mm-hmm.
So it reminds me of this scene with Caesar, and he's talking with, I forgot his, is it Maurice? Yeah, he's talking with Maurice, and he has like a tree branch in his hand, and he breaks it once, and he goes ape alone weak. And then he continues to break it into pieces until he can't anymore because, so many pieces that are too strong for him to break at once. And he says, ape together strong.
Mm-hmm.
And it just reminded me, like, when we unite as a people, no matter whether it's race, whatever, like, just when there's a whole front of people, that we can get things done.
Mm-hmm.
And I just think sometimes the lines are so blurred that what we're getting done may not be the right thing, or it may not even be something that is beneficial to the human race. If that even, maybe I'm thinking about it too deeply, but just like, it just goes to show that if we unite as people, that we can really get things done. And if we were going into the right direction, or if we had one simple goal that we were all faced towards, that we could really make a difference.
Mm-hmm. That's true. So on that same note, do you think savage culture is going anywhere, or do you think it's human nature? Like, do you think this is just the way of life?
I feel like it's always been here.
Mm-hmm.
It's just expanded, or because basically social media is high school. It's just on a larger scale. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's just, you have your different groups of people. You have your jocks, you have your emos, you have your cheerleaders, whatever. You have each groups of people. It's just that it's um it's expanded to the whole entire world. Um so I don't believe it's going anywhere, because I don't think it left, or I don't think it was like birthed anytime soon. Um it's just the way that the world is going to be. As long as there are bad, shady, petty, toxic people in the world, there's going to be savage culture.
Right. And honestly, like what I think is that sensitive culture can be a bit more dangerous than savage culture. I mean, sensitive culture bleeds into savage culture. They can be one and the same, but I feel like sometimes like those people in sensitive culture who are, typically the people who are, supporting a cause, they're supporters of something that's positive or that they believe in. I feel like once they turn up and once they start attacking people, like it gets crazy. Like because they don't even know the power that they have, and just like they don't even realize like the savagery that they're creating, like
That's a really good point. I agree 1,000%, because this is why wars are started.
right.
Like, when somebody strongly believes in something and they're going at it 100%, and you can't change their mind, they're not open to discuss, or you know what I mean? Like, they're just
Right.
seeing red, they're just seeing a target, and that's it. Like, that's very dangerous.
It really is.
I agree with that statement 100.
And it's sad because there are some people who are in sensitive culture, for example, who like so let's say they support a singer. If you say you don't like that singer's nail polish, or you don't like the song, or you didn't agree with this, they're going to attack you, like drag you down, threaten you, tell you to kill yourself, like all that. And it's like, really? Like i I never understand that. Like,
That's what drives me crazy, honestly, personally, about this whole both savage, sensitive culture.
mm-hmm.
Um, I don't see anything wrong with admiring anybody, using somebody as inspiration or motivation, whatever it is, looking up to people. I have my own people that I look up to that are celebrities. But as far as me sending death threats to somebody who said that they don't like their dancing, like, you know what I mean? That's a little bit too far, I feel like.
Totally agree with that.
All right, Kay, I got a question for you.
Mm-hmm.
Um, where do you think music plays a role when it comes to savage slash sensitive culture?
Man, you know that music plays a role like in every part of like everything. So music definitely plays a huge role in savage and sensitive culture. Like lyrics, um, they just create the whole vibe. Like just certain things that these artists, rap about or sing about, like people kind of just passively agree to it and just hop on that bandwagon without really thinking about what they're like agreeing to and committing to. So I think it plays a huge role. What do you think?
I totally agree, and I think passive was just like the operative word there. Um, I actually I was saying this as a joke to one of my coworkers the other day, and I was saying how like I can't really rock to mumble rap, or I wouldn't even say mumble rap. I'll just say any song where I don't understand the lyrics, where I don't understand what's going on. And the joke was the joke was I can't, because what if they putting the hex on me and I don't know what they saying? Like
Right, right.
but also at the same token, music is very powerful. And let's say, for example, you hear Happy by Pharrell. Like, it makes you feel happy. It makes you,
Mm.
want to get up and dance. If you hear Oops by Tweet, that puts you in a certain mood. So it's like you have to
I'm
keep
over here dancing.
I just
I'm
snapped
over
my fingers. So it's like even without words, even just if you just played an accompaniment by itself, you know what I mean? Like it can put you into a mood. So just being very careful about the things that you ingest and feed yourself, whether it's music, TV, a social media account, whatever it is. I think we have to be careful and not just passively um tune into these things. You know what I mean? Like let it be something that you really want to have an effect on you.
Yes, like in our episode self-awareness, like we covered all of that. You have to be so mindful of what you're listening to. Like it's nothing wrong with listening to music, but just keep in mind that, like you said, you're going to ingest it. So just be mindful of what you're taking in.
Exactly. So, where do you think this whole savage, sensitive originated?
That's a good question. I mean, you kind of touched on it earlier when you mentioned like, it's doesn't really have a birth. Like, one thing I always say is like nothing is new under the sun. So I don't feel like, okay, 1990 is when it came. I feel like it has like, its highs and lows, like where we see it more or we see it more in one area, than the other, and then vice versa. So I feel like it's just been here. Like you can look in the Bible and see things like that can be identified as savage culture. Like I just
Mm-hmm.
feel like it's been here. Um, it's just always been here. Like you mentioned with social media, it's just okay. Now we have this platform where you go online, um, you're gonna just see it. It's there. It's everywhere. Like,
Mm-hmm.
if I want to go online and say, I like the color blue, I have to realize that I may get attacked because, why don't I like yellow or why don't I like purple? And
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I'm just me. I'm not like public figure, but I think it's more so with public figures that really get attacked. But even, a person with 50 followers, 100 followers, like, you know, um, they are, they have the ability to be subjected to savage culture as well.
Yes. And that just made me think of something. Like, why are people so angry?
Girl, a lot.
Like, you don't see a lot of people, like, okay, for example, if a celebrity says something wrong, you see more people attacking than trying to fix it in a nurturing way. You know what I mean? You don't see,
Right,
okay,
right,
my brother, this was a little bit too harsh. Maybe you should have said it this way. It's just straight attack mode.
right. Right. It's like if you look through those comments, there'll be a few of those people trying to educate or, like you said, nurture or give some type of advice. But most people they just want to tear them down. Like
like we always say, like we build them up to tear them down. It's jealousy, you know, it's just like they're insecure somewhere in their life if they feel like they really have to, like, you know, go in on people for no apparent reason, especially like
That might make, because you know what, there's a lot of celebrities or public figures that read these comments and can really get torn down and broken down by them. You know what I mean?
mm-hmm.
And I think that might allow them to cope with that easier if they thought about it that way. You know what I mean?
Right.
If they thought about it from that perspective, like this comment really has nothing to do with you, but more so what that person is dealing with, and they're just projecting it in this comment section.
That part.
I feel like I agree with you. I definitely feel like history has a way of repeating itself. Um, I do think that from what I've seen growing up, that there was like a shift somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
Um, as far as where it comes to women empowerment. So I think there was a point in time where we as women, you know, we felt like we really had to show that we were strong. We're women. Um, we can add or benefit to the world in this type of way. We're fierce, we're assertive. You know what I mean? Like we wanted to
Mm-hmm.
show that part of ourselves. I think there was maybe a small group of that group that kind of broke off and kind of veered left
Right.
and went into savagery mode. So although I do believe that savage culture is always here, I can see for myself um kind of how another tree branch came off.
That's a great example.
Thank you. So we have savage culture, we have sensitive culture. Um it repeats itself in history. It's been here. Is there a way that we can get back on track, or is there a way that we can make it so that there's no savage culture?
That's a really good question.
Thank you.
It's loaded.
It is.
Again, I feel like, did we ever, you know, really have it right? Like, I'm not trying to be negative against, like, you know, humans, but I just feel like it's in human nature for some people to, you know, exhibit those savage traits. And then there's some people, you know, who are going to be in that sensitive culture and think they're protecting, but then, you know, all of a sudden they're a savage. Like, I just kind of feel like it's a cycle. I do think that we can all take responsibility.
Mm.
We can all just, like, you know, choose to, like, make an active choice every day. Like, okay, you know what, today I want to show kindness, I want to show some love. Like, for example, like, I'll have my days where I randomly wake up and I'm like, you know what, like, I want to just show love to a small business, or I want to show some black girl magic, and I'll just, you know, maybe like a bunch of pictures of, like, a friend on Facebook, or maybe right on your page, T, and just, like, let you know, like, how I feel about you, or, you
Mm-hmm.
know, like that. So I think, like, if we all can kind of just make a choice every day to kind of show love, and to strangers and to friends, I feel like that'll have an impact, because I feel like little things make a big impact. So I don't think it would, you know, bring world peace, but I think it would, I don't know, I think it would bring some love and positivity. What do you think?
I agree. I think that would be beautiful. I feel like it's never going to go away. Just not being negative, but being realistic.
Right.
However, I would love to see it diminish. I would love for it to be the minority. I would love for um I don't want the savage culture to be the norm. I don't want it to be like upfront first page. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like if we can just find a way where it becomes a minority and there's more of a peace positive culture, and there is a savage culture, but it's just like that's abnormal, then I think that would be ideal, of course. How do we get there? Like you exactly what you just said. Like if we all just you know what? We had this conversation before
Mm-hmm.
about us being accountable for ourselves and us healing ourselves, self-awareness, mindfulness, self-care, all these things. And once you kind of worry about that, once you worry about taking care of yourself and healing yourself and feeling those voids that are missing in your life, you start to attract other people in your life that are doing the same.
Right.
Not only attract, but you also kind of inspire other people to do the same.
Mm-hmm.
So I think if we just take the steps to kind of back away from the crowd and just be like, okay, let me focus on bettering myself. That in itself is helping everybody else around you.
So true. Like Michael Jackson said, heal the world. Like, so true. And I want to just do a quick side note. I'm so happy that we released self-awareness as our first episode, because I just see it tying into like everything we talk about. Like, it's just so like, I don't know. It's such like the first step to everything.
Yes. Yes. I feel like I'm going to be quoting self-awareness throughout the entire season. I feel like I'm like you said in self-awareness, friend. Like, remember?
And guys, self-awareness was a straight freestyle. Like, it was nothing that we put like a lot of thought into. It was just something that we just did. And I don't know, I feel like it plays a big part in the Chapter 30 podcast.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And T, I want to say something about our podcast. I kind of mentioned it, but I really, really want to say again, like, I really feel like our podcast is going to have a huge place in just spreading peace, love, and perspective and positivity. Like, I just think like it's a huge reason why we're here. Like, we really want to promote that. So I just want to shout us out, like, it's awesome.
Oh, that's so amazing. Like, just to know that we have impacted one person's life or inspired one person to I'm going to share something. I'm not going to say any names, but we've gotten a few reviews where, people have saying like, they're working on changing their mindset. Or actually one person commented on one of our posts and she said peace, love, and perspective, and that just blew both of us away.
Yes.
We were like, what? Somebody's using our phrase? Like, oh my God. So just the fact that if one person is touched by one word that we say, is a blessing.
Yes, T. Totally agree with that. I love to see people's feedback and just, I don't know, I love it. I can't say it enough. So guys, I want to let you guys know that we are going to have a challenge, and it starts as soon as you're done with this podcast.
Yeah.
We want you to tag us in something positive, like something you post on your own page, something you post on someone else's page, hashtag the Chapter 30 podcast, and just let us join in on that good stuff. Like, we want to see it. We want to hear about it.
Yes, guys, let's do our part to spread some positivity on social media.
Yes, because it's never enough. It's never enough. So thank you for listening, guys. This topic was fun to talk about. And of course, the conversation doesn't end here. So give us some feedback. Hit us up. Let us know what you think about the episode. The questions that we ask each other, we would love to hear your answers as well.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Thank you so much, guys. See you later, streets.
See you later, streets. Good
Love
night.
you. Bye. Hold up, wait a minute. Y'all thought we was finished?
Hey, we're back, guys.
Welcome back.
Yes, before we let you guys go, we want to put y'all on to a new segment that we're going to have, and it's actually called
Let Us Put You On.
There you go.
So, guys, if you do not know by now, I know we've mentioned it in a couple of other episodes, but Miss K and I are completely obsessed with music. We live our lives in a musical.
Yes.
So like we said, we're going to introduce this new segment, and what it is, basically, we're going to kind of dissect a little piece of a song that is just dear to us, that speaks to us, and we're going to let you guys know what it means to us.
Right. Yes. And before I start, I want to invite you guys to join us as well. Direct message us or email us your favorite songs and your take on it. We would love to share it with everyone, and we would love to hear what song and what music you guys like.
Yes. Put me on to something new.
Yes. So I'm going to give you guys my song, but to give you a little intro, I love music, like all kinds of music, like all kinds, rap, country, R&B, like all kinds of music. I love it. Just good music is what I like. But R&B definitely, I hold that in a special place in my heart. Like, love it, especially old school. But a song that really touches me, like none other. Like I have to play this song every single me in a million different ways. Makes me emotional. It just, oh, this song means so much to me for so many different reasons. Is Never Can Say Goodbye by the Jackson 5.
Oh,
I love this song. Um, one, when I lost a special person, actually to three special people in my life, this song has always come to mind. A certain verse, which I'll actually share. And then like even in relationships, even situations, like it's just so fitting. Like this song just means everything to me. So the verse that I'll share is actually this one. Okay. Okay. Every time I think I've had enough and start heading for the door, there's a very strange vibration piercing me right through the core. It says, "Turn around, you fool. You know you love him more and more." And that's my verse. I mean, I can go on. It's really the whole song that I love. The beat, I love this song live. I just love this song. I cannot explain it, but that's my song. I'm sure a lot of you already know it, but if you don't know it, let me put you on.
yes, that was a really good choice.
I
I should
love
have known you was gonna come with an MJ song. I don't know why I didn't know that.
I know. How could I not? I love Michael Jackson, guys. I love
R.I.P. MJ.
All right, you go, girl. Put us on.
Okay, I'm gonna put y'all on. Same as Miss K. I love all types of music. I love blues. It's probably like my number one. I love soul, hip hop, R&B, country, some classical. The genre that I chose for mine is kind of a soft rock, pop rock song, and it's called "Break Even" by The Script. And it starts off by saying this. Okay, this one is a little bit um depressing. So it's called "Break Even" again by The Script, and it says, "I'm still alive, but I'm barely breathing." That's the first the first sentence of the song.
Mm-hmm.
Just praying to a God that I don't believe in, cause I got time while she got freedom. Cause when a heart breaks, no, it don't break even.
Mm.
Her best days will be some of my worst. She finally met a man that's gonna put her first. While I'm wide awake, she's no trouble sleeping. Cause when a heart breaks, no, it don't break even. I'm gonna just do one more part because it has to come together. What am I supposed to do when the best part of me was always you? And what am I supposed to say when I'm all choked up that you're okay? I'm falling to pieces.
That's my song. Like as you said the lyrics, I'm like, I know this song. That's my I like that song.
I want to sing it so bad
Me
because
too.
it's just a knock. But if you have ever been through a breakup or a bad one at that, this it's just it speaks to my soul. Just these lyrics, the way that he's singing it, or the group is singing it, it's just like wow. He and when a heart breaks, it don't break even. It always seems like there's one person that's going through it more than the other one. You know what I mean?
Always.
Yes, and this is coming from the person who's really going through it. So
Mm-hmm.
it speaks to me. I felt that one.
I like that. Good choice.
Thank you. Thank you.
You're
Do you have another you want to share with the people before we
welcome.
go?
I'll share one more.
Okay.
All right. As a lot of you guys know, one of my favorite singers is Tamar Braxton. I love her. I originally like started with Toni Braxton. She's my favorite, but Tamar is my favorite as well. I have a long list of them. Maybe I'll share them one day. But I love her. I love her music. And one of her songs on her album, Love and War, one of my favorite songs is called Stay and Fight. And I'll share that with you guys just because I feel like we live in a generation, as we kind of touched in a few of our episodes, where but we'll definitely go further into it. But I feel like we live in a generation where like no one stays and fights for love. Like it's not cool, savage.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not cool to say like I love you. Like Like, I want to fight for you. And that's because most of the time, you know, there's just one person fighting because, like you said, when that heart break, it don't break even. So, you know, I just love this song because it's about somebody just being open and honest about like wanting to fight. So I
Wow.
will do a verse and then some of the chorus. I'm sure some of you guys know this. Hey, Tay Martians, but for those who don't, like, go play it if you're into this kind of music. I love this song. So this is the verse. We could throw out the pictures and throw our dreams away, and we could forget the words we were too afraid to say.
Mm.
Could live with the mistake tearing us apart every day. We could let all the good just fade away. But I want to stay and fight for you. Fight till my heart is black and blue. Fight till there's nothing left, not one single strand of the love we had. I want to stay and fight for us. Fight like hell before I give up. Till I'm
Mm.
one, the only one in love. I fight for you.
Ooh.
So, yeah. Just imagine, like, really, like, and I'm not saying stay when the love is just not there and you should go. We all know when we should go, but just imagine, like, the relationships that we left maybe too soon that we could have fought for. Imagine where, you know, where we could have been. But
Mm. I'm gonna try not to go too hard, but this opened up a can of worms, Miss K. It opened up a can of worms. It just reminded me of the instant gratification world that we live in and just the overconsumption of people that we have access to. And that's why people don't kind of, and it also has to do with the savage culture as well. But when you have access to the entire world at your fingertips,
like Wi-Fi,
like people are like, why fight?
Wi-Fi,
Like, I'll just go to
fight.
the next person.
Just keep fighting, and then when it gets rough, run, like just keep running.
Yeah.
We're tired of running, I guess, and I don't know.
Wow.
Are they ever tired of running?
Mm. I thought that was an amazing choice. I'm gonna have to go listen to that.
I love that song.
Whew, okay, we're gonna have to save that for another episode. So my last one is a pop song. I guess it would be kind of pop R&B-ish, contemporary R&B. But this is one of my favorite singers. His name is James Arthur. And the song is called Say You Won't Let Go. I have a thing for male voices for some reason. So throughout this segment, it's probably going to be like a lot of guy singers. I don't know what it is. I like a deep voice. Or it's going to be like Jasmine Sullivan, Brandy, that type of raspy voice. Etta James, whatever. Okay, so
Etta, yes.
Etta is my baby. Oh my God.
All I could do was cry.
Oh, girl, don't get me started. Ooh, okay. Ooh, actually, let me write something down.
I was losing.
Listen, I'd rather go blind.
Yes, honey.
Ooh, okay. Let me go to James. Let me give James his spotlight. So this song is called "Say You Won't Let Go," and my last song was a little depressing. This one is a little bit more romantic, uplifting.
Okay.
So he goes, "I met you in the dark. You lit me up. You made me feel as though I was enough. We danced the night away. We drank too much. I held your hair back when you were throwing up. Then you smiled over your shoulder. For a minute, I was stone cold sober. I pulled you closer to my chest, and you asked me to stay over. I said, I already told you. I think that you should get some rest. I knew I loved you then, but you'd never know, because I played it cool when I was scared of letting go. I knew I needed you, but I never showed. But I want to stay with you until we're gray and old."
Aw. So
it's so sweet. It sounds like a poem.
It
right?
does. It's crazy, like when you like look at music in the sense of just the lyrics, like so poetic.
Yes,
So
yes. This song like gets me in my feels because one, it's a guy saying this, you know what I mean? Like, and the way that he sings it he sounds so vulnerable and so like he meant it. I'm not sure if he wrote this song, but it sounds like it. It sounds like this was how he really felt. And when he just said, you know, I looked over you smiled over your shoulder, and I was stone cold sober, like
right. You could just
it just like knocked him over, like how beautiful she was. It's just
picture that.
Exactly. It's very like so much imagery in this song. That's why I love it.
And you know what's crazy about this segment? Like, we're reading these lyrics, and for all the music lovers, like, I know they're gonna feel it, but it's crazy because, like, even without these powerful singers, like, actually singing it, like, their lyrics are so powerful. Like,
Yes.
amazing.
Yes.
So thanks.
Well, thank you guys for listening, and we're really going this time.
I know we're really gone. Bye.
Bye.
Thanks for listening, guys. You could have been anywhere in the world, but you're here with us.
And don't forget to follow all of our social media platforms linked below. And remember, peace, love, and perspective.